Hi, it's James Harrison here to talk about the next Daily Drumming Influences Revisited. Originally posted in 2012. Today it is someone that probably not a lot of people are going to know unless you came from the Murray, Kentucky area, or perhaps you're buying a used car in the West Kentucky area. And that is David Hall. Now, David Hall was a person who was a drummer in Murray, Kentucky, and was part of the Murray High School band. When I was in junior high, David was in high school, and he played what people back then called the Tim Toms. Now they call them tenors, quads, quints, whatever. At the time, there were just three drums, and they were very large. And David played those drums, and I just thought he was really cool. He had long blonde hair and seemed to get attention from girls that I could see. And I was like, man, that's what I want to do. I want to play those drums, because being somebody who was so into drum set, I really wanted to play with multiple tenors at the time. And so when I went to high school, graduated junior high, whatever you want to call it, we called it middle school. My high school was 9, 10, 11, 12. When I went to high school, I was going to play the Tim Toms. They had gotten a second set of them. They only had one at one time, and there was another guy, and he played the timbales at the time. And then the following year, they got the Tim Toms, tenors, whatever you want to call them. So David was a senior and played one set, and then I played the other set. The other guy who played the timbales, I believe his name was Kenny Collins, and he's since passed. But I played the smaller set of tenors, if you want to call it, and they weren't small by any means. If I'm not mistaken, they were 14, 16, 18, and the set that David Hall was carrying, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, were 16, 18, 20. They were very, very large. So I could be wrong on those sizes. It could have been 14, 16, 18 on the big set, and the smaller set might have been no, that doesn't right. That's not right. But yeah, they were big. Anyway, they were back in the day. We were Murray High's colors. They were the Tigers. It was gold and black, and so the drums were striped and like a gold sparkle, black, and then a gold sparkle. Anyway, so I got to be close with David, and when I went in, and David wasn't a strong reader, but had a great sense of rhythm, great hands, and great sense of timing. And I was a pretty strong reader at the time, so I would read it, and he would see me play it, and then he would just copy it like that and have it down, and he would make up some crossings and stuff like that to make it look cool for us. And so we had match stickings and everything like that. And before we had a contest that we'd have to go, and back, people don't realize back in the day, a lot of the marching band competitions that you went to, you had inspections that were part of your overall score. You had an inspection, and they would check your equipment. You weren't allowed to move. You had to stand at attention for 10 minutes or whatever. They walked through the band, and if they took your instrument or your mallets and looked at them, and then they handed them back to you, you weren't allowed to hand them back unless they put them back exactly the way they took them from your hands. If you did it wrong, or you looked at them, it was a deduction, 1/10 of a point off your score. And so I would go over. David had an apartment, which I thought was really cool for a high school senior. He didn't live with family. I don't know if his family was there anymore or not, but he had an apartment above this trumpet player's house, their family, the Howards, and so I would go over there and I would grab steaks from the house. My mom worked at a grocery store, and I'd take food over there, and we'd cook the food, and we would clean the drums and get them ready for the contest the next day, and then drive together. We weren't far from the school at all, and so it was good hanging out with David. I got to know him really well, and that's where I think I first saw the poster of Nigel Olsson on the wall. I believe it was at David Hall's house. But anyway, it's really cool. So I got to be really close with David, and he was quite an influence in a lot of ways. And, for that year, we bonded quite a bit, and he was a really funny guy and everything, too. And then, of course, once he graduated, he left the area, and if you need a used car, look up David Hall in the West Kentucky area. But I continued, and I played tenors one more year, and then decided I wanted to go to snare, and became the section leader and did that. When I first went in, I think Bill Bailey was the section leader of the drum section. So anyway, I had never really seen David Hall play drum set. I think I wanted to saw him play one tune with the Murray High Jazz Band when Count Basie was in town, and I think the Murray High Jazz Band opened the concert, and Bill played probably 90% of the stuff, and then I think David might have played one or two songs. So I never really heard him play a lot of drum set, but I'm sure he could wail on it if he wanted to, because he had really good hands and a good sense of time. And I know he plays drum set. I just didn't see a lot of that. And anyway, but just that influence and that attention that he gave to me, and that bonding that we had, he was a huge influence on me when it came to some of that marching stuff. So to exclude him from being a drumming influence would be wrong. So the drummer for the day, from the time in Murray, Kentucky, was David Hall. Again, I was a senior when I was a freshman, but I watched him for a couple years when I was go watch the men practice on Thursday nights, because it was close to my house. I would ride my bike over it and watch them. And here's this 7th and 8th grade drummer just trying to take it in, and I'd see things and try to steal the licks and everything. And so he was somebody I definitely watched, and he was a huge influence. So David Hall, drummer of the day.